In this tutorial, I would like to take a image from a digital camera and do some processing to enhance this. As you can see, I've just imported an image, and it's not really much to look at right now. It's taken from a fairly inexpensive digital camera, and we really want to take that and make it a lot more interesting looking. The first thing we might do, we have to determine what our output is going to be. If it's going to go out to print or to a photographic medium, we might want to keep the full resolution. But if we're uploading to a web page or say Facebook or something, we're not going to need that super high resolution. So we can go ahead and reduce this a little bit, so we don't have as much to work with. If we zoom in on this anyways, we can see that digital cameras, the more inexpensive ones anyways, work with an effective resolution. They're not really super high quality sensors and that sort of thing, and some of their pixels are interpolated from the values from the sensor instead of being a pixel per pixel image. So reducing the size of the image isn't really going to reduce the quality by any amount. In fact, we can probably reduce this by half or more and still get the same effective quality. So I'm going to hit the resample button and just resample it by half to make this easier to work on. And as you can see, the quality is still high, but our colors are a little dull. If we were going out to a print medium like a photographic print, we'd probably want to keep something around this level. But since we're going to a website and most people are using LCD screens these days, first thing we want to do is enhance the saturation a bit. So I'm going to go to color and saturation, or rather adjust in saturation, I believe. And there it is. Just adjust that to a level we're comfortable with. We don't want to overdo it. It'll get a little bit blown out looking, kind of unpleasant looking, but I think right about there should do it. And the next thing we're going to do is, well, everybody knows that the sky is blue, but unfortunately our camera doesn't seem to know that. So I'm going to go to Photographic Filters and Blue Enhance, which used to be called Polarize, I believe. And as you can see, that's just enhanced that blue color a little bit, or made it more blue. And you can do that several times if you need to. A lot of times digital cameras, especially the lower quality or the less expensive ones, will not reproduce that sky blue as well as we would like. And if we do this too much, we can start getting a little too grainy, and if you don't like that, remember you can always fade it out maybe halfway or part of the way. But we want a nice deep blue anyways for this particular image. Now the next thing you'll notice about this image is, well, the tree looks fine and the sky is okay, but down here there's really nothing to look at. That's because this is all in shadows down here, and we're going to do something about that next. It's really not much to look at because the dynamic range of the camera is just not able to capture the really brights up here and these really darks and make it really work. So we're just going to help it out a little bit by using our fader tool, our selection fader tool, previously called the alpha fader tool. And there's just a shortcut to that right here in the selection menu. I'll click that. And if you want to use an older version of the program, you would just go to the gradient lens flare, special effects, and all that sort of thing right here. It looks kind of like a rainbow or something. And it'll be there called the alpha fader, and now it's called the selection fader, which is a little more descriptive of what it does. I'm just going to click down here, drag up a little bit to where that gradient would want to end, and let go, and you can see we now have a selection of this area. And if I go to paint on alpha, selection, paint on alpha, you can see exactly what our alpha channel looks like. So I'll just go back to the normal painting mode there, and I'm just going to go to adjust color, or in fact I might go to levels adjustment and use that and just adjust the color up there. I don't want to go too much because I actually do want to change the color of this as well, because it's kind of bluish looking. I want it to be more of a match for these deep orange and golds and yellows and greens and things I have up in the sunlit area. So I'm going to use the color adjuster to do that. Maybe get some of that red in there a little more. Let's see. And there you have that. I'm just going to go ahead and clear that. Alpha. And now, since we're going to upload this to, say, Facebook or something, we really only need a smaller image. So I'll resample this again down to a usable size, maybe 800 by 600 or 1024 or less even than that. This might be adequate right here. Hit OK. And as a final step, I'm going to sharpen that a little bit. If you have a lot of high frequency detail, a lot of detail in this image, you might just want to use the digital photo enhance, but sometimes just using a sharpen filter can give us a better result. And you'll just have to use that depending on what type of image you're working on. Either use the sharpen filter or the unsharp mask or the digital photo enhance, and it'll give you a different quality of sharpness depending on which one you use. And I think that's probably the best. And you probably don't want to go all the way with it, maybe halfway or 2/3 of the way, and it'll be more than sharp enough. And that is basically some things you can do to enhance a photo taken from an inexpensive camera, and just generally make it look a lot more professional looking, a lot more interesting. Even here we could do more. We could do more of that saturation. One filter that really does some nice things, let me store a copy of this so we can look at it later. We might want to come back to that. But one filter that does some really nice things is the Photographic filter's soft contrast improvement, which will it'll enhance the saturation of an image, but it'll do it in a way that's soft, where you don't necessarily detect where the edges of everything is. And changing this exposure and that sort of thing helps a lot. And once you apply that, you can always fade it out if it's too much. But you can get some, it'll help bring out the shape of different objects. Say this tree, we really wanted to bring out the shape of this tree more. It might help with that, or it'll help bring out the detail in these rolling clumps of grass and that sort of thing. That's one thing you can do, and there's quite a lot more, of course, but that is a pretty good start. You could also use that selection fader if you just wanted to change the look of certain clumps of grass. Maybe over here, say you wanted to bring this out more into the foreground, because things in the foreground would naturally you would want to look more stand out more by giving them more color or making them warmer. That's a good way to go to make something warmer looking. It will make it stand out more, for example. And that's just any number of things you can do to a photograph to just give it more interest and make it less bland looking. And we're not trying to cheat here. I mean, we're just trying to bring back the quality of the image that we saw with our eyes, and we're trying to reduce the limitations of the medium of the photographic medium. And even if it was cheating, which would you rather look at, the original or what we've done here? So it's just something to think about when you're working on your photographs for sharing with others. And we'll be back again soon.